Hello, all of you gloriously wonderful people. This is the Overflod Tyrant, and I'm about to find out if it'll off-road. This is the second most voted for vehicle this week, coming in with 19 votes. Lining up on the start line, getting ready to go. But before we start talking about the car, I want to say thanks to Legionnaire Mapper. I think I'm saying your name right. Thanks for the sub. Appreciate that you like the content, and I will keep doing nice work. At least I hope I do nice work. And if I don't, I always want to hear comments about that as well. Tell me what I can do better. No matter who you are, if there's something you didn't like, you can unsubscribe and just walk away. Or you could be like, hey, I kind of like this part, but here's what I didn't like. I take feedback really well. So anyways, the Tyrant. I don't know. This car came out with what? Southern San Andreas Super Autos? I think so. Is that what the name of that was? Not Southern San Andreas Super Autos, Super Sport. Whatever the racing one was. Anyway, first of all, this is like an incredibly big car. I mean, it's huge. The thing is wide, it's long. It's not very tall, but it's just a big, big car, which makes it weird to drive. And something that really, really irritates me about it is, and you'll see it a lot, and it's happened several times, just happened then and there and there. If you look on the front fender arches, right there on the hood, you see the tires popping through constantly. And it's just so freaking annoying. It's just distracting. And it's just, I don't know. It's a quality thing. But how does it do off-road, and how does the car drive overall? And the answer is I didn't have very much fun with this, because if I'm not mistaken, this car has advanced handling flags. I could be wrong about that, but it seemed as if it was constantly, like I was constantly fighting against the engine. Like I would get it to a spot where I wasn't having any wheel spin, and it would shift or bog down or some weird thing, and it was just, I don't know, it was just a constant input adjustment with this car, more so than anything that I can remember in a long, long time. It also just doesn't really react very nice. I don't know, it just doesn't drive very nice. It doesn't seem to really respond properly to all of my driving inputs. It's just, I don't know, it's a weird car. But we're coming around the back side of our ascent here at the very last little push, and it does fine there. And it actually gets up in a pretty decent time of 2 minutes 44 seconds. So will it off-road? Yeah, it will. But that is if you bothered to buy it, which I don't recommend. By the way, that makes it the 8th quickest supercar to get up Mount Chiliad, and that's out of 31 that I've tested so far. It does slot it right in between the Tempesta and the Cyclone, by less than 1/10 of a second either direction. Those three are just boom, boom, boom right there. So it gives you an idea what its performance is like. Interestingly enough, I really like the Tempesta. Just goes to show that a car that's a lot of fun to drive on the street may not do as well on the mountain, but those are all really good times. It was also 17th overall out of 197 vehicles, I do believe. Forgot to write exactly how many it is. We're getting really close to the 200th vehicle, and we're also getting really close to 100 bullet off-road videos, and that's not counting the ones in the snow. There's like 16 of those, I think. So we're about a month out from 100 bullet off-road videos in 3 years. Not quite 3 years. It'll be almost 3 years, because I started this in 2016, which surprised me when I made my 4-year anniversary video. I didn't realize I had been doing bullet off-road that long. So it makes it my longest running series that I've had. Probably also one that, yeah. Anyways, I've talked about that in the past. But on our downhill, the Tyrant's doing a lot better. You can see that we've had a couple close calls, especially on the second jump back there. And the fact that it has really good brakes really saved me. Sadly, Commander Hobo, you can see, is way far to the right and no longer directly behind me. That's because his Dundry does not have very good brakes, and he missed a corner and went tumbling off of him. But it does okay coming back down the hill, but again, it was just constantly, I don't know, just constantly fighting the car. It just didn't want to really do what I thought it should do. But at least we did a rare late afternoon run in the Tyrant and got to see, you know, Mount Chiliad in the forest in a different setting. So I guess that's a plus. Has nothing to do with the car, but whatever. So it's a light, bright car. I figured it was okay to go ahead and do it, even though it was getting darker. Yeah, I don't know. By now, it's pretty clear. I don't really enjoy the Tyrant all that much. I very rarely drive it. And when I do, I'm always just like, why don't I own this? There we go. There's that wide fat body coming into play. 229 on our controlled descent. Commander making a stunning finish, as always. So now it is early morning. We waited for night to pass, and the sun is just peeking up over the mountains. You can kind of see it, and it looks beautiful. And this is... sorry for Commander nearly running right into us there. This is a fairly unremarkable damage descent as well. The only thing is, even just like we saw at the very end of the controlled descent, due to the width of the car, I clipped the concrete barrier and it spun a little bit and shoved me over to the building. I don't think I've ever had that issue before, just barely clipping it like that. And it's just because I misjudged how wide this car really is. But that width doesn't really hurt us too much on the damage descent. It'll come into play a little bit once we get down to the different tunnels under the bridges that we have to go through. But it's not too big of an issue. But here was a weird issue, though, and this happened a couple weeks ago, too. It sounded like I wasn't accelerating, because the car was not. It was not accelerating, but I was. On my controller, I was on and on and off, on and on and off. God, I can't English. When can I ever? But I was back off and on the gas, and it wouldn't respond to the throttle. It just sat there dead for about 5 seconds. So I don't know what causes the cars to do that in this game, but I do remember Bruffy made a video about it, how sometimes the cars, it's like they just stop responding for a minute. And I'm not sure if it's something to do with advanced handling flags. If I remember right, the other vehicle that did it was one of the newer cars. Thanks, Commander. That helped quite a bit. And by helped, I mean, you know, knocked me over and slowed things down quite a bit. But it's fun, so it's fine. Completely missed my turn. That's my fault on the car. I should have turned sooner. I've been watching some of my older Will It Offroad videos just to see what it is I do differently now than I used to. I used to turn way sooner right here. Like, it was rare that I would hit the wood pile. Now I kind of aim for it, just because I think it makes more spectacular footage. But we're down 2 minutes, 19 seconds. There goes an F620 getting fucked up. And our damage here is the windshield, the headlights, and the front trunk won't close. It's a newer vehicle. There's not much for a damage model. What are you going to do? However, Commander's Landstalker is another story, man. Dundry makes a good SUV, apparently, because that thing took a beating and it's still running, though. I guess there was some engine rattle. But that brings us to our next car, the Benefactor Feltzer. And this comes in with the most votes this week with 58. In fact, most of those votes came in after last week's Will It Offroad video. Somebody voted for it several times. I don't know how many I didn't count exactly, but it was the big bulk of all of them. And yes, the comments for this half of the video, there are new Simeon missions, and they're actually not bad. I've still only played 2 out of 3 of them. I haven't done the drop the hammer or whatever the one is about hammers. I'm assuming in that one you are a building contractor and you have to go find your hammer. I don't have any idea. I'm talking out of my ass right now. But yeah, the new missions are a lot of fun, and I was glad to see them. I know everybody's really anxious for a new DLC for GTA Online. Me kind of right there among them. Mainly because I need some new content, but The new missions are nice, and I can't wait to get some time to actually play them more with my friends. We just haven't had an opportunity yet to really do that. So the Feltzer. I mean, everybody knows the Feltzer by now. I mean, this car has been in the game since its launch. I mean, if you haven't owned a Feltzer at some point in your history of GTA Online, I'm not sure what you're doing with your life. Because it's just a great sports car. It's a lot of fun to drive. It's a little bit much to get used to for some people just because it can step out the back end, even with a spoiler on it, will get away from you. And that is the only issue that I really struggled with here coming up the mountain, was keeping the back end lined up. I was never, ever full throttle. Not once. There will be times that you'll hear the car bouncing off the rev limiter. That's only because the wheels started spinning and I was trying to find that place to get grip. Had I been full throttle, this would have been a completely different run. One, it would have been a lot slower because the back end would have spun around a lot on me and I would have wound up spinning out. Plus, it would have been bouncing around a lot more, and during those spin outs, I probably would have went flying off the mountain at one point. Actually, this is the second run that I recorded. The first one ended after like 30 seconds because I had too much speed, bounced up over a little bump and went flying into a tree and then spun out after I hit the tree. So I went and fixed the car and started again because I just felt the car deserved a little bit better because it had been a while since I had driven it and I kind of forgot exactly how sensitive that back end can be at times. But once you keep that in mind, it's a very pleasant car to drive. I really like it, especially on the regular roads. Fair-wheel and off-road, again, we all know these are not, if your friends say, hey, you want to go off-road, you're not going to show up in a Feltzer, obviously. But if you're needing to run off-road and you're in one, well, now you have a good idea of how it will do. So at $249, will it off-road? Yeah, and it wasn't all that challenging. Honestly, it was a lot easier to get up here than the Tyrant was. That makes it 4th out of 31 sports cars. It's interesting we have 31 sports and supercars each, but 4th, right behind the Raiden by 0.2 of a second. And that does make it 26th overall, just missing out of that top 25. But, you know, that's fine because it is faster than 19 out of 31 of the supercars getting up Mount Chiliad. So there's an interesting number to keep in mind. Even some of the all-wheel drive supercars, it beats out. So just a testament to how great this little car really is. And, you know, despite its really over-the-top, you know, wide-body kit and, you know, really aggressive front fender or front bumpers that you can even put, you know, some really obnoxious canards on, if I remember right, or canards. I never know how to say that word. Somebody correct me in the comments. I'm sure you'll point me with a Google pronunciation or something. I don't have time. I can't stop and pause when I'm doing a voiceover because I key them up, and then it would be really difficult to get them keyed back up so that I stay in sync with what I'm talking about when I go to edit all of this together in a final video. You'd be surprised how many times I render out a little off-road video to make them happen. It is a labor-intensive video, the one that I spend the most time on every week. These take a lot of time to produce, but they're still some of my favorite to make. I just like driving up and down the mountain, and it's a lot more fun when I have my friends with me. I used to record like 8 cars at once, so I'd have like the whole month's worth of cars done. But my friends wouldn't stick around for that because, you know, you're talking like I get maybe 2 done per in-game day if I'm lucky because of the day-night cycle. And they just didn't want to hang out for 6 hours while I recorded cars. So, you know, whatever. I don't blame them. But, yeah, Feltzer's doing fantastic. Again, it's been all about knowing that I have to have throttle control with this car. If I had done a few practice runs, I probably could have gotten a slightly better time. But I think at 4th place, that is a good reflection of what the car can do. However, we did spin out when we hit a hiker, which I found really odd, that it changed just the car's geometry around enough that it caused the spin out hitting a hiker. Very weird. Back down on the asphalt, where it does a lot better, but I'm not pushing it too hard because we are already down in 2 minutes, 31 seconds. Commander Hobo's a little bit late on his entrance this time because he got a little far behind, but there we go. And look at that. That BF injection just tapped its brakes and gently missed him. So, damage descent, the fun part. Look at that. Perfect landing. I mean, that was amazing. This car is so easy to control in midair. Granted, once it gets a spin to it, it's a little bit harder to correct. But those first few landings were a piece of cake. So, you know, if you find yourself in a G-Fred situation and you're in Feltzer, I don't know, maybe risk it. Yeah, you'll probably blow up during this part anyway, because it hits way too many hard bumps. But since this car has been in the game since it launched, that means my favorite thing, it has pretty good damage models. So each hit that this car is taking is actually deforming different parts of the car, and we'll get to see that reflected once it gets to the bottom. I like that. I think it just adds that extra bit of immersion to the game. I wouldn't say realism, because obviously, you know, if a car goes tumbling down the mountain like this, the occupant's not going to survive, and the thing is going to be beyond recognizable. It'll just be a twisted hunk of probably flaming metal. But still, it does add to the immersion some that your car reflects, you know, the impacts that it's had. A little bit stuck here at the moment. But look at that intercooler. Even the intercooler is bent up. So, you know, that's... I just really hope that in GTA 6, Rockstar remembers that cars need damage models. A little bit stuck. Thankfully, Commander Hobo was a little out of control and just gave me a little love tap there and set me right. But the car did fantastic through the muddy bit, though, for what it is. We're down 1 minute 48 seconds. So let's take a look at the damage on the Feltzer. All the lights and most of the windows are gone. The front rear bumpers gone. The hood's gone. The doors won't close. It has bent wheels and some pretty significant body damage, if you ask me. There's some pretty big banged up pieces there. And of course, Commander's XLS, also by Benefactor, missing a few body panels. I think he had another oopsie coming down the mountain during the control descent, if I remember right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's Will It Off-Road. Don't forget to go vote for the vehicles that you want to see featured by clicking on the link in the description down below. And come hang out with us on our Discord, where very soon we are going to begin designing the new Will It Off-Road bingo game. So make sure you join in for that so you can have your input there. But until next time, I'm Brandon, reminding you to stay vainglorious.